Hello. What I have in front of me is a Staunton pattern chess set made of boxwood and ebony, and it is made by Jaques of London, the famous maker. There's the stamp on the white king, not stamped on the black king because it's too early for that. This is the box that goes with the set, a mahogany box with a brass label that occasionally was inscribed, with a prize. Often Jaques encouraged chess clubs to give these sets as prizes, so that might well have been bought in intended as a prize and didn't get given for some reason. Here is the label, which dates the set from 1855 to 1862. The set has more things which look a little bit like 1860 to 1862, so it is what we call a date appropriate label in the correct felted box. It has a brass cartouche on top. This cartouche here is in bone, in a similar style. It may be a later replacement. This may have dropped out at some point along the journey, along the box's journey. Now, this set may well have been an old club set. Now, we know that these large sets were used in the chess clubs in Victorian times because Howard Staunton took a 4.5 inch St George pattern set with him to Paris when he played in 1841 against St Amant. So we know these large sets were like. This board is a French board, isn't in the sale, it's a little tight, and I'll just quickly go through what people say is that you need 4 pawns to fit in a square, and as these pawns have 1.25 inch bases, that means you want 2.5 inch squares. These squares are 2 inch. I personally would prefer, for a set this size, a 2.25 inch square. I think the 2.5 inch square makes it rather, but anyway. So, Jaques went through a number of different knight's head styles over the years, and that's one way of trying to date a set, also the shape of the curve on the bishop's mouth and so on. They eventually settled on this rather nice and well-carved knight's head, and if you notice that the mouth is still downturned as if the horse was gasping or feeling a bit grumpy or something, and this is because it's based on the horse of Selene that drew Selene's chariot across the sky, the moon goddess Selene. And you see in the Elgin marbles that the horse is gasping for breath, and you'll notice that by this time Jaques have introduced a notch in the cheek, whereas the very early knight's heads had smooth cheeks and a rather more gasping open mouth. But this was the standard knight's head that they more or less decided on for years and years until they started outsourcing the production, when things changed quite radically in modern sets. Now, this set had 2 replacement pieces, we think. The black king is slightly different to the white king.
Put it over here. I think they could see it better.
Okay, there are slight differences between the kings. So what I did, I made another black king which matched the white king in every respect as closely as I could. But of course this piece, which this may have been a club set, this king may have been replaced when perhaps a famous person came to the club and all the best sets were gotten out for a simultaneous display, and then the pieces got tumbled back in the boxes and replacements were made. And also one of the white knights, this white knight here.
That's not a knight.
One of the white rooks, this rook here, had a slightly larger open part at the top and is slightly higher on the base. And so I made another rook which I could match as carefully as I could to the original. There were some minor differences in the pawns which didn't disturb me particularly, but they just needed some attention. And the black queen had some alterations made to her.
She was a little chubby.
She was a little chubby. But that again, some of these differences could have been when the set was originally made, and some could have been introduced later in a club setting or something, where people got a little casual with which sets belong to which pieces. So 4.5 inch king, all weighted. Every piece is weighted.
Well, 4.4. They do insist on that.
4.4 inch king. Every piece is weighted. Nice substantial set.
In really good shape.
In very good shape. Now I have to say, if a Staunton pattern set from this period had gone through its life without any damage whatsoever and ended up in this sort of shape, you would pay a great deal of money for it, and I can't imagine one existing that hasn't got to come through my hands. Thank you.